The frisky and fun Atlanta Hawks, 6-4 on the season, play their first game of the in-season tournament yesterday. They beat the Pistons. I think the final score was 126, 120. Don't have it pulled up right, but it was something along that. Good game. No Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. You're playing on the road. Good victory for the Hawks once again. I think they're one of the deepest teams in the entire NBA, and that's kind of flexing their muscles. But I want to focus more on the in-season tournament. And I know a lot of stuff has been made about this. There's been conversations. How much did players really care? How much do fans really care? I'm going to straight up tell you guys, like I think it does more positive than negative. Like, first of all, there's no negative here, right? But it is, I will admit, like when there's an in-season game on the schedule, I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Like, and listen, as a Hawks fan, I'm excited to win anything. I'm excited. I mean, we haven't won anything in my entire life. We haven't won anything as a franchise ever. So, like, well, maybe not in Atlanta at least. Maybe you go back to St. Louis if you're some old folks out there. We haven't won anything in my entire life. So if we were able to win a little trophy, I don't even care if it's a little like a little small guy. Like, I don't know what the trophy looks like for this dang thing, but hang it in the rafters, baby, and put a rafter up there, like Hawks first annual in-season tournament champions. So I like it. I do think for teams that probably aren't going to be contending for championships, I don't really think the Hawks are going to contend for the NBA title this year. It does add at least a little bit of flair to the regular season, which can kind of get really, really, let's be honest, absolutely terrible, dreadful, and boring, especially if you don't have a good team to watch.
Yeah, no, I think the players wouldn't go for this. It's the same argument when people say, like, oh, you should play the worst two teams at the end of the year and the loser gets the first overall pick or the winner gets the first overall pick, whatever. Like, the players aren't going to go for that just because it's them getting replaced. But like, I know it works a little differently, but you should get an extra lottery ball. How about that? You get an extra ping pong ball.
I agree that there's really no negatives, but there is one. These courts are atrocious. Whoever signed off on these courts should not have a job anymore. They probably put their underpants on outside their pants. I mean, they have absolutely no court. I don't know who signed off on these decisions. I mean, it's horrid. But back to the actual play, I love it. I love the in-season tournament because it does give you something to look forward to. We got another one this Friday against the 76ers, the red hot 76ers, by the way, who look like the best team in the East, or maybe, the best team in the NBA thus far. We got another one, and that's a huge one at home. The State Farm's going to be absolutely rocking. And I think it'll be even more so because the Hawks are going to be debuting their court, their city uniform. So it's going to be an exciting time for not just Hawks fans, but NBA fans in general. But in terms of how the Hawks actually look, yeah, that depth was flexed last night. AJ Griffin got some burn. Saddiq Bey had a lot more time on ball, and he rewarded Quinn Snyder with a very impressive game. DeJounte Murray looked like he didn't miss a beat without Trae Young. He should have had a double-double, by the way. They got him down for like 32 and 9, but it should have been 32 and 10. He actually had one of the final assists on a Saddiq Bey 3. I won't forget that. But the team just looks like it's starting to figure out. And I still, contend that there's going to be some more downs before it's, consistently going in an upward trajectory. But that's the goal. Consistently upward trajectories for this Quinn Snyder-led Hawks team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised. Now, I think the Hawks started off, this could be totally wrong. I think I took it off Twitter, but I think they started off similarly last year. And then obviously we know how that turned off. They turned up into the most mediocre team of all time. So hopefully, we don't see too many downs. But I think there's a case just with the depth and stuff like that. I think DeJounte Murray's obviously starting to play a lot better in a Hawks uniform. I'm not saying he's not an MVP candidate by any means, but he's playing he's playing much better than he did last year. His three ball looks much smoother. He's not afraid to take it. He's chucking it up at will. And as long as if Trae Young can come back and play better than he was earlier in the season, and they can keep figuring out a way to stagger those minutes to maximize both of their value. I mean, there's some things to be excited. I mean, we've talked about Jalen Johnson. We've talked about the depth. And those two guards, I mean, that's arguably, I mean, it's up there with the best backcourts in all of basketball. So there's some stuff to be pleasantly excited about, and you have the in-season tournament about. I mean, I'm already happier with this season than I was all of last season, and we're only 10 games in. So if there's a positive, there it is.
I think the key difference between this year and last year is that when talking about if things go wrong, things go bad, things aren't getting better, I think that Quinn Snyder voice carries more weight than a Nate McMillan voice. or even going back further to Lloyd Pierce, where he already commands the respect of this Hawks team. And this Hawks team feels like it's got a different ethos, a different energy about it, where they're kind of eager to just whatever we can do to be better and to, take the next step. We're eager to do that. We're listening to you, Quinn. Whatever you tell us, we're going to try. It just feels like there's a different vibe. I'm not going to say the result will be different this year, but I'm just saying that it feels like the team itself is maybe having a little bit more fun. If you look at the 76ers, you take one James Harden and it's, addition by subtraction. And I'm not saying that, the Hawks had a, terrible chemistry last year, but it certainly wasn't this. It certainly wasn't this.
Yeah, I think Quinn Snyder's undoubtedly the effects are being felt. Coming up after the break, we are going to talk about some blockbuster trades that I actually drummed up with the Milwaukee Brewers that could make some sense.